to start? Do you want me to
start? I want to start.
He wants to start.
I want to do this. This is how we do this. This is how we do it. Yeah. Comics, etc. Episode, you know.
You saw the number.
Yeah. So, y'all know the drill. Mr. Hueth and I, Guy, we're here to give you the skinny on our favorite or random comic issues that came out this week.
He has to add that because I've thrown off the entire thing.
We read some comic books we read.
This is how we feel.
Alright, first thing I'm going to talk about today is Batgirl, number 36. Is this good? Alright, Batgirl, number 36. This is the second issue for the new creative team of Stewart, Fletcher, and Tarr. Sounds like a legal firm. And I loved it. If you didn't like their first issue on the title, issue 35, which admittedly was very, very strong in its modern themes and tones, I think you're going to like this issue more. It's definitely mellowed out. We get maybe only one or two references to Hook, their dating app, like in this at all. And we find out that, or maybe we already knew, but I didn't pay attention in the first issue, that Bab's roommate is like a programmer or coder for Hook or something like that. So I thought that was kind of cool because they're showing, they are really engrossed in this like new culture, this new media forms of communication, but they're the ones who are driving it. Babs is incredibly smart. Her roommate's intelligent too. Like, they might be young people. That doesn't mean that they're not capable, intelligent people. And what I also really liked about this issue was we got to see a little bit more of Barbara's past that she actually enjoyed. Because through most of Gail Simone's run, we got like glimpses of the past, but it was all basically negative. How awful her brother was, how awful everything was, etc., etc. But we see in this one that the two villains she's facing, they're people who are cosplaying as villains from an old anime she used to watch. So it just makes her more relatable. Like, I mean, if you're someone my age to probably even like 30, you can totally relate to this version of Barbara. She makes much more sense for someone her age than the overly dramatic, everything is life or death version that was featured in Gail Simone's run. And that was a fine run, but at no point did I think of it as anything more than average. This title, I think, is extraordinary for what it does. I think it's fun. I think it's in its own area, and I like this Barbara. I like seeing she's still as mature. She's still as smart and as savvy as she's always been, but she's in a setting where she's allowed to be her age for once, to have a little bit more fun. So I thought it was a really, really great follow-up issue. They didn't lose any momentum. If anything, they've picked up speed, eliminated some of the issues from the first issue. And overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a super-duper phenomenal read. Super-duper. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. But I know that this run is probably going to be one of my favorite, if not my definitive run for Batgirl. And I realize that's saying a lot, but I have high hopes so far.
For my first review, I'm going to be talking about something that I said I would only cover once the series was done. But enough has happened in it that I kind of want to cover it from right here. We'll be covering Death of Wolverine, the Logan Legacy. This issue is the Lady Deathstrike one. It did show the fallout of what Deathstrike was feeling about the death of Wolverine and what she thought she had to do in order, like, now that he's gone. And overall, the series, I'll talk about the series as a whole when we get there. A lot of Deathstrike, and that's not a disappointment. She does very well for herself. A lot of fights with the Yakuza. The art is very interesting, even though everyone has like a really big body and really tiny face. And not so much like a tiny face like, oh, it's all punched up, but like their heads are just one size too small. Everyone's head is one size too small. I know I got a big head, but still, like, one size too small for everyone in here. It's kind of off-putting. But overall, I'm going to give this one a, let's say 7. 7 out of 10. I'm giving a lot of 7s recently, because things are kind of meeting my expectations. And not quite. So, Logan Legacy, issue 4, 7 out of 10. Job, bruv.
The second comic I'm going to discuss is the new Thor, featuring the female Thor. And finally, in this issue, in the first issue, we only got to see this new female Thor pick up Mjolnir at the end of the comic and become Thor. In this one, we're seeing things from her point of view. And the writing is just, it's sharp. It's still Jason Aaron, who wrote the last series of Thor, who wrote Southern Bastards, who's writing Man of Wrath. He is just a generally fantastic writer. He does characters so well. So right from the get-go, we hear her inner dialogue. And she thinks in her regular Midgard human voice, but whenever she speaks like Thor. And I thought that was a really cool dichotomy. Like, the hammer turns you into the god or goddess of thunder. And so I think it's interesting, this sort of insinuation that, like, Thor is Thor. But Thor's hammer is also kind of Thor. So if you have it, you're Thor too. Like, I just think it's a nice little bridge. So, you know, we didn't just get someone who's, like, got the Thor hammer, but is talking, like, a Brooklyn accent. Well, you know, like, it still maintains the image. And I think having the company Roxxon, which is a company we learned about in the previous Thor line, as a backdrop for the events that are happening right now, is a nice way to tie the old Thor line into this current new one. And it gives us some hints as to who this new female Thor might be. This new Thor kicks a lot of ass. I really like her. I can't wait to read more of this. I had no concerns for female Thor when I heard about it, because I knew the creative team could handle it, and they are handling it. The art is gorgeous. The pacing, the writing, the humor, the dialogue, all amazing. And at the end of this issue, a little bit of a spoiler, new Thor is left without her hammer. And she's still in Thor's outfit, or her new Thor outfit, but Mjolnir is trapped in, like, a room next to her in, like, an adamantium box or something. And she thinks to herself, with the hammer, I'm the new goddess of thunder. Without it, what am I? And so I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, what she is, to see how she reacts to the situation without Mjolnir. It's not great enough to live in my memory forever, but it was a damn good read. And I love new female Thor. Or as I should just start calling her, new Thor. I love her. She's awesome. I want more. 9.5 out of 10.
The next one I want to talk about is my random pick for the week, and it is Alex and Etta. Now, if you're looking at this, you're like, wow, that's a really bland cover. That's actually what drew me to this. I looked at this, I'm like, this is a very, very minimalist cover. It's just three people looking in different directions, all with their eyes closed and just being depressed. I'm like, that is kind of the epitome of, like, alt-rock. Alright, let me talk about what happens in this issue. I have no idea what happens prior to issue 10 that they're on, but apparently Etta here, which is the black hair lady, is a robot, and she has sentience. Do you know how I lost my leg?
No.
It was chewed off by a robot! I'm lying. It wasn't chewed off by a robot. It's actually right here. It's hairy and pale. Just... I wish I had one that shoots lasers. Now, before we get to the actual review of things, I want to say one thing they do very well in this. She is an android that has sentience, meaning she is a robot underneath and a, like, organic being on the outside. Now, in Terminator, they call that a cyborg, and in Terminator, they're wrong. They're very wrong. That's an android. A cyborg is a organic being augmented by technology.
Cyborg from DC is a cyborg.
Boom. Terminator is an android. They say he's a cyborg. Don't let them lie to you like that. This comic has a lot of repetition, a lot of blank staring, and a lot of just, not empty space, but a lot of emptiness in people's expressions. Now, I first saw that as a, like, kind of like, dude, no detail. What are you doing? What are you doing? But since it takes place in the future where we have robots and all that, it's actually, I think, artistically, it's really cool. The fact that in a society that has adapted robotics and accepted robots into their community, the people themselves have slightly become more robotic with their expressions. They're not so expressive. They're not like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, they're like, hey, how's it going? You know, their eyes raise up a little bit. Just a little bit. But I found that really interesting. That and one of my favorite parts in this is when this dog looks at the dude, and it looks so depressed. I need to show this to everyone. I need to show it to the class. Yes, here. It's like distressed and depressed. I personally love it. It is amazing. Overall, I'd say this comic I have no idea what's going on, so I can't tell you exactly how I feel about this. But this comic in itself, I think, was an interesting read. If you are already picking it up, I should say, please let me know how the series is going as a whole. But Alex and Etta gets an 8 out of 10. Alex Etta. Ah! That was amazing!
Boom! It was like, something for my ears. Help me out. Help me out, Mr. Hueth.
It was like, we were talking about earlier, it was like playing Crossfire all over again. Remember that game? Crossfire! Crossfire!
I wouldn't say it was a direct one-to-one, but it was certainly something like that. But now,
jealous of my Crossfire skills.
you know what? You're probably right.
Probably.
I'm jelly all over this sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You know what the
Okay.
difference between jelly and jam is?
No,
Neither
stop.
do I.
Okay.
Alright, Future's End. It's that time.
Future's End. 29? 8. Dang,
28.
I knew it was 28 too.
I knew it. I did.
So, before we talk about this issue and what happens in it, we're going to take a little glimpse into spoiler land. But I don't want you to stop watching. So, a lot of stuff happens in this issue.
That's destroying my throat.
And it ends with something dangerous happening to Madison thanks to Dr. Yeah, I'm a bad guy, which you probably already know about. So, if you've ever looked at the previews at the back of an issue of Future's End, it shows you a couple panels from what's happening in the next issue. Apparently next week, all we're getting is Firestorm. But not only that, they have opted to give us the entire plot of the next issue in these previews. Join me on this journey, will you? Following these sequentially, Mr. Hueth, if you would point to the top panel, Cal, not Tim Drake, breaks into place. Next. Cal and Jason, who are the heroes Red Robin and Firestorm, in case you don't know by 28 issues, continue to break into this place. Next panel. Madison's in danger! She's gonna use the teleporter on her! Oh no! Oh! Jason gets in the way! No one saw that coming! Female Firestorm? How could that possibly happen? Who is she? I mean, a new Firestorm? After one half of Firestorm jumps into a machine with his girlfriend? What could possibly lead to this? I don't even have to read the next issue.
So we have to talk about this.
Well, I guess we have to talk about this one. Okay. So, we were teased in the beginning with something that could possibly be exciting. Now, a while back, Earth 1 Lois Lane saw that vision of Earth 2 Lois Lane, and we all knew that inevitably they would meet. They have met. That was the extent of their part in this issue.
Yep. Then they just stopped talking about it.
Right when the good stuff was about to happen. There was something exciting in the form of a tag team. Well, we said the continuation, rather, of the battle between the Batmans.
I don't want to talk about anything but the Batman Plastique fight.
That totally makes sense.
I do like the fact that they keep the...
Rapport?
Yeah, rapport. That's a good word for it. They keep the rapport between Terry and Plastique, and it's just really good, especially with Plastique's physical mannerisms. Like, Terry pops his head out. He's all like, here, I'll read it because I'm looking at it right now. I thought I told you to wait in the... And then she's standing there just like, what are you doing? She's like, after I just did? Shouldn't you be saying something else right now? Yeah, Plastique. Run. With Batman going...
I gotta say, I would read this series if it was only Batman versus Batman and Plastique. Like,
that should be a new offshoot. New 52, Future's End, Batman, Plastique.
because like it's a lot of fun.
It is.
It's the most fun we've had with this series so far. I would hazard to say. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to see a Firestorm come back.
I'm just excited to see absolutely nothing about that, but it will be interesting.
I mean, sure, you can't just redeem yourself after trapping someone in your mind for weeks by picking up someone else's girlfriend and making her into a superhero. I realize that's not how life works. But at the same time, I'm kind of excited to see the characters move on from this nonsense that they've been dealing with.
But other than that, this issue is just more build-up into what's going to happen on Cadmus Island. I already told you about what I thought about that. Yeah, I think the I'm a bad guy thing is going to be the next big thing. I think I might have been wrong casting the whole, like, the Cadmus Island thing's coming full circle. It's not going to for another couple issues.
Yeah.
Like,
especially now that we know 52 is gathering her team.
Yeah, it's like, more gathering people to go to an island.
Oh, but it sounds like at the very least it's less going to be gathering and more of recruiting Banger and Mash and Voodoo and...
Mash and Manger and Bash and...
There's another one, isn't there?
Sure.
Anyways. Score!
I'm going to give this one 7 out of 10 again.
Agreed.
Because I really, really enjoyed the Batman Plastique thing and the Lois Lane finding Lois Lane.
Yeah, that should be fun. The art for that part was pretty good too.
It was. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think the art is actually improving.
Yeah. It was really surprising. I remember reading the issue and going, my eyes. Anyway, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Future's End.
Woo!
Yeah.
We're almost at 30. Well, that concludes our reviews and all that. As always, if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. We personally enjoy doing these videos. They're the light of my life on this Friday, not Thursday. I think we're good for this episode. Well, as always, remember who you are, what you are.
Don't go causing any trouble out there in that crazy world.
And for a series that is inspired by the legendary animated series, Guy has a very good point that there's a very, very surprising lack of Bruce Timm and Paul Dini in this.
Who does that?
We're giving it a solid
5.5. Let's go 5.5.
Let's go 5-point airplane.
5.4!
Okay.
5.45.
One lives in a cave. The other two are from the future and a robot. Batman Plastique.
Worst 80s sitcom or best 80s sitcom?